What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show. And today we got to talk about it. The free agency tampering period starts tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it's already then started and people have been reaching out to agents and everything like this. But this particular message is more to the Commanders front office. This is not a game. This is not something that you play around with. Failure is not an option. We need to make sure that we come out of this free agency with a lot of things on deck that's going to improve our team. Okay? There are things that we need to do to make sure that this team is successful next year. Because if they're not, then it's time for Adam Peters to pack up and go. Because to me, we're talking about year one was a success without a shadow of a doubt. We understood rebuilding, whatever the re's were. Rebuilding, reconstruction, rebrand, whatever it was. It was all that. But what we saw last year was we saw a failure to compete in free agency last year. We can't do all these one-year deals. They don't work. And when they don't work, all it does is make it worse. Okay, this is starting to feel like we're going down the path when it comes to not only free agency, but also in regards to understanding what you have on deck. We basically took a piece of our strength and threw it away. With 1 year left on this deal, Tyler Biadasz, which was a part of one of the best things that was going for us last year, that offensive line, he's now gone. And I don't care what people say about him being pushed back and things like that. He was effective enough to sit up there and be looked at as as our offensive line being one of the best. So with that, people need to understand that this is not a joke. This is not a game. And who's to say what's going to happen with Chris Paul? I see other teams are re-signing a lot of their guys. And here we are at a point where even somebody like a Chris Paul is not yet signed back. That's never a good sign. We just saw Connor McGovern go back to the Buffalo Bills. So that's still, now the center market is dwindling even more, and it's one of the things that we need. I understand that people may say, well, Nick Allegretti, we haven't seen Nick Allegretti play center in God knows how long. So, I mean, how can you make sure that that's something he can actually do at this level and that Jaden can trust him? I don't know. Jaden was comfortable with Tyler Biadasz. And here we are now, we're taking our guys down a path that may not be successful. But we will see. Failure is not an option. You got to go make plays. We just saw also the Green Bay Packers bolster their linebacking core by making a trade for Zaire Franklin. Why were you not on a call with that? That was a very good deal. We see a team in our conference just get bolstered by and letting the guy go in free agency and getting something in return that was way better than him. And I understand, like, there's a lot of things when it comes to money and stuff like that. But no, you just can't do it. I already told you what my list was. Go all defense in this free agency. All defense. Because you know why? The defense is stronger in free agency than it is anywhere else. Another thing, stop doing these one-year contracts. These one-year contracts don't do anything to benefit this team at all except for make it uncertain the following year. There are so many things you can sit here and think is great for this team, but it's not. It's just not. We cannot come out of this free agency thinking that everything is hunky-dory and sweet and we walk away with 2 players. Last year, you did not spend the money like you were supposed to. Last year, we walked out of free agency with Javon Kinlaw, and everybody felt you overpaid. Not just the fan base, even people who were not in the fan base. People who were not in the fan base, everybody felt that you overpaid for Javon Kinlaw, a guy who has not shown since he's been drafted into the league that he even is more than just a big guy to be in the middle of the defense. He hasn't displayed that. He just hasn't. And this was a guy that you gave a multi-year contract to. That is so disheartening when it comes to things like that. You need to make a big play, a massive play. You need to show that you really do see this team as better than what it's ever been. And like I said, one-year deals just don't cut it. It just don't do it. Running backs. I mean, look, I love running backs too. People are talking about the running back class isn't that good. No, the running back class in this draft is actually very good. If you've actually gone out there and see them play, the running back class in this draft is actually very good. I'm not going to tell y'all who I think is very good, but I did see that lately, all of a sudden, one of the guys is now appearing in the first round. But this, I mean, the thing about this all season is that it matters. It really does matter. Like I said, you didn't spend any money last year. Zero. Any real money. And we're talking about refitting an entire defense along with building an offense. And that's another thing we have to pay attention to. We're sitting in a situation where you, instead of promoting Anthony Lynn or trying your best to see what you can get out of Ben Johnson, guys who have called plays in the NFL before, and you can see what their offenses entail. In fact, Anthony Lynn is a strong proponent of running the football. Remember, Justin Herbert's one of Justin Herbert's best seasons was under Coach Anthony Lynn. That was one of his best seasons. Austin Eckler had a fantastic season under Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn has a run-based offense that a quarterback can get behind and do well in. Didn't go with him. Brian Johnson, I can kind of understand not going with him, but to have David Blau leapfrog both of those guys is insane. Absolutely insane. And to see how we're still at a point where we still don't know what we're getting out of. At this point, you need to bring in as much talent as possible, as much good talent as possible, because we might have to cover up for any failures that our new first-year coaches, coordinators, may not understand. What if we go out there and David Blau doesn't really understand, doesn't have situational awareness? I mean, remember, he was a quarterback, a third-string quarterback. which means he wasn't great in the NFL. What if he has poor situational awareness? What if he has poor situational awareness, or he loves a player too much because he just loves him as a person? And he wants us to let go of somebody else like a Tyler Biadasz. Like, we got to think about that. Sometimes having a wealth of great talent when your new young coordinators are coming up is probably best for the team, because at least you can mask their deficiencies with great talent on the field that can make up some of the things that they weren't really aware of. Now, don't get me wrong. Durante has called defenses, but at the college level. And these are things that we have to keep focusing on and talking about. Because if we don't, we'll be in a situation where we walk out of free agency with a Javon Kinlaw again. And that cannot happen. Like I said, this is not up for discussion. This is not something that we just pretend is happening. No, we have to make an impact in this free agency. We have to rebuild this team, because we got a lot of guys. We got a lot of spots that need to be filled. Contrary to what everybody else believes, I don't like our running back room. I said that last year, and I'll say it again this year. I don't like our running back room at all. Bill, to me, was very disappointing. He changed his running style, which for y'all who don't really watch film, don't recognize that, but he changed his running style, and it didn't look that well. Again, his pass protecting was horrible, which is why he wasn't in the game most times, why they had to go with Jeremy McNichols. Because Jeremy McNichols was their best pass blocking running back, which means that teams started to pay attention to that. These are things that we can't come out of this free agency just joking around. I'm nervous about our offensive line now that Tyler Biadasz is gone, and possibly Chris Paul could possibly be gone as well. That worries me, because now that's two major spots that we got to fill. Because, hey, guess what? Last year, y'all didn't think Ben Coleman was good enough. And now we need a center too. And y'all talking about the possibility that Nick Allegretti might be that? No, we need that. We need help there. We need a star opposite of Terry McLaurin. Everybody thought I was crazy when I sat up there and said, trade a pick, see if Jacksonville is serious, and go get Brian Thomas. At least that gives Jaden Daniels somebody he's familiar with, somebody he's comfortable with, and at the same time, somebody he can grow with. It was okay for Joe Burrow, for the Cincinnati Bengals to go get Jamar Chase for Joe Burrow. Why is it not the same thing for Jaden Daniels? Already, it feels like we're wasting his talent and we're wasting his rookie contract. We cannot keep going down this path. And we have to understand that when it comes down to it, there is a lot of stuff we have to do. Again, I don't want us walking out of this free agency with just a Javon Kinlaw. Like, I don't want us coming. I feel like I have to say the line from The Godfather. I don't want my brother coming out of that bathroom with just his stick in his hand. That's how I'm feeling. I don't want us coming out this free agency with just our stick in our hands. That cannot happen. That cannot happen. And this is exactly what I mean about making sure we do more in free agency than just the bare minimum. This draft is not the draft to be playing around in. We got to come out of free agency doing very well, because this can get ugly very quickly. especially when you're talking about 2 first-year coordinators and a coach that seems to basically be on the hot seat, along with the front office who should be on the hot seat as well. I gave y'all my list a minute ago of the guys that I feel we should take. Like I said, it should be, in my opinion, it should be an all defensive free agency for us, and we go for offense in the draft. Like I said, there are running backs in this draft that, to me, can basically not only upgrade our running back room, but actually the guy who comes in could be the starting 3-down back in the draft, coming out of the draft. Like I said, it's a couple guys that I like. It's more than a couple guys that I like in this draft that are better than what we got on the current roster. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel in this upcoming draft? In this upcoming free agency, can they come out with just bare minimum and that's fine enough? Or do y'all feel that they have to do everything that they can to get all the stars they possibly can to come here and play in our system and to possibly cover up the failures of our new coordinators, or even sit up there and make our team competitive? Y'all tell me in the comments below. Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune, and it's been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.